Saturday morning to highlight the Pitt Panthers, and that was also a Notre Dame matchup. This one today, noon kickoff, ABC. We're going to see whether they're celebrating tonight at Hemingway's or Jeans or the porch or garage door. The list goes on. In the great Steel City, Kirk Herbstreit is in the midst of that crowd. He was just firing up a moment ago. Kirk, Pitt is putting up 40 a game since the start of October. 5th best in the nation. They got a freshman running this thing. What's catching your eye about that Panthers offense?
Well, first of all, it's phenomenal experience to be back in Pittsburgh. Thank you guys so much. It started pouring at about 6:30 or 7 o'clock this morning.
Oh, no.
And this is the Steel City. They didn't even blink. They didn't even worry about that. So we're excited to be back here. Very grateful for this. I know Pat McAfee, this is his hometown. He's fired up to be here. So we're going to have an awesome show. You know, this is a Pitt team that has been very resilient. They lost a couple games at the end of September, made the quarterback change, and now they've won 5 straight games. They're playing with a ton of confidence. Anytime you think of Pat Narduzzi, you think a team that's going to play with toughness, a team that's going to play with great defense, kind of a chip on their shoulder. But this team is scoring points. They're really believing in this. This kid is a true freshman quarterback making throws like this. And I think when you make throws like this consistently, you create confidence not just for yourself, but I think your team. And I think so that's what I've seen here these last 5 weeks is they come in on a roll and they're going up against obviously a very good team in Notre Dame today. It's going to be exciting to see what happens.
Pat Narduzzi might have the hottest team in the conference. They're 5-1. They're not the only 5-1 team, though. If you had to pick the best team in the ACC right now, Herbie, who are you going with?
Well, since I'm here in this beautiful city, Pittsburgh would definitely be right there in that conversation. The ACC is wide open. I think Georgia Tech, obviously, if you think about this, Duke's 5-4. But yet 4-1 in conference play and still has a great chance. They have a huge game today, by the way, with Virginia. Miami, obviously, if you're saying who's the most talented team, you would have to give Miami a lot of credit for the team that they are this year. But Pitt has a huge chance, I think, these next 3 weeks. Think about who Pitt plays. You have Notre Dame today. You got Miami coming up. You have Georgia Tech. So if they are, in fact, the best team in a conference, they'll at least get a chance not to get into a hypothetical discussion. They can prove it out in the field and see what they can do and finish strong these last 3 weeks.
Got a couple of prove-it games in the SEC today. You got Texas and Georgia. You got Oklahoma and Alabama. Of those 4 teams, Herbie, who has the most question marks in your eyes?
Well, I think everybody, it's really not about question marks. It's about consistency. They all have at times where they've looked outstanding. You can make a case for them playing like they're ready to roll into the postseason, and at times they've been very frustrated. I think Oklahoma's a very interesting team with John Mateer. Early in the year with him making plays, he had the thumb injury, then they slowed down. I called the game in Knoxville a couple weeks ago, and he came alive in that second half. Can he bottle that up in today in Tuscaloosa and the rest of the year? Because they have had a gauntlet to get through. So I don't know if it's question marks. I think it's more about all 4 of these teams have to be more consistent. I think that's what's so great about the SEC today is those 2 games, who has a better chance to pull off an upset? Is it, Texas and going into Athens, or is it Oklahoma going into Tuscaloosa? I think the Sooners with Mateer, if he can scramble around and make plays, they could give Alabama all they could handle today in Tuscaloosa.
We understand that there is a Peter Herbstreit sighting there in the Steel City. Old Petey Pittsburgh is running around.
Yes,
I do want to say, oh, Pete, oh, buddy. I do want to say that McAfee is the only Mountaineer that crowd seems to celebrate, and that's going to be really cool to see the hometown man coming home. We'll see if that tarp comes off. I know it's cool. I know it's rainy and damp there in the Steel City. I don't think it's going to do anything for Herbstreit. Game day with Kirk Herbstreit coming up.
The bear, but sometimes the bear gets you. E-Mac, last night, the bear got us.
Guess what? Birds don't have teeth. Tigers win, baby. Can't wait to see you soon.
Oh, he's keeping himself warm.
Here, boys.
Yeah, it ain't that. You better stop.
I have to be honest. Pittsburgh.
That was earlier in the show. You can tap in 7 a.m. Eastern on ESPN on Saturdays. Now, earlier in the week, though, on this show, Gary snuck in a little surprise script and teleprompter. I read it blind. He asked me to be a groomsman in his wedding next summer. I get to do that because he gave his amazing fiancée a ring, and now they're planning a wedding. Ryan McGee now putting a romantic, giving spin on the race for the college football playoff, giving it a golden bachelor type of shine, and handing out CFP roses this week in what he calls the golden bracketer.
I love college football. And that's why I am even more excited to watch what happens in Week 12. Because while the race to win the heart of the Golden Bachelor might have ended, the candidates hoping to win the heart of the Golden Trophy have packed the CFP mansion. Let's call it the Golden Bracketer.
The right side of the field, intercepted by Ohio State.
Play action. Touchdown.
The Texas Longhorns didn't just fail to win the first impression round. They fumbled it, and Bevo accidentally trampled it. But if the Horns win this week's challenge, a trip between the hedges against Georgia, then they will be looking pretty once again. But is there anyone prettier than Uga? And will past drama come back to create an episode we won't believe? Alabama showed up to the season's first cocktail party at Florida State with a broken heel and crimson lipstick smeared over their teeth.
Where does this lead? DeBoer and Alabama.
As they were driven away from the rose ceremony 1 year ago, the Tide vowed to prove that the CFP had made the biggest mistake of their lives. Since that Week 1 FSU hot mess, Kalen DeBoer's black hoodie has looked better than a little black dress.
Jeremy Bernard, touchdown Alabama.
They host Oklahoma, who were last fitted for a ring in 2000 and were left at the altar in 2008. The regular season's final rose ceremony is only a few weeks away. We can't wait to see whose name is called, just as long as it's the right one. No offense, Jesse.
Ryan McGee always does such a great job. I want to go back to, again, the lead into that entire piece was the idea that I am, not the idea, the very real fact, the binding verbal contract that I am in your wedding. I'm a groomsman. So next up, right, you've got a lot of the wedding milieu taken care of.
It's actually, we're ahead of schedule.
Bachelor party time.
Come on.
So, the blind reveal for this week on SportsCenter AM, the top 5 bachelor destinations.
You are about to learn so much about me right now.
You're blind ranking,
yes.
Okay? I think the first
5
one.
to 1.
Yeah, first one's kind of easy. Number 1, the most desirable. Number 5, least desirable.
On my terms.
Bang, bang. First one.
Ooh.
Come on. You and I both appreciate country music.
Correct. 4.
This is only 4.
That's the only thing that you can do is walk down Broadway. You know I'm a lightweight, so 1 bear, what, and I'm done. You're going to have to take me back to the Airbnb.
One cold bear?
The Gary B&B.
The Airbnb.
So Nashville, to me, in terms of like the time to money to fun ratio,
okay.
I'm
4?
not there. That's 4.
You got Nashville at 4. Already your list.
Yeah.
Suspect.
Okay.
Miami. Great weather. Play
5.
some golf.
5.
Play some golf.
5, because the bachelor party is
beach.
happening in July, dude. I don't want to just be
No, the wedding's
sweating.
happening in July.
Well, for me,
We're not going to have a bachelor party the night before. What is this, the hangover?
that's
We're
what's
not doing
happening.
that.
We're doing the bachelor party the week of.